Okay, be honest, have you ever finished a show and thought, how was everyone not talking about this? Hey, I'm Jenny, and today we're counting down 10 underrated TV series that deserved way more attention than they got. These aren't bad shows that faded away, these are great shows that somehow slipped through the cracks.
Rodney, is Kenzo in trouble?
We're all in trouble, honey. Not my place to say.
Some of these are slow burn mysteries, some are emotionally devastating, and a few are the kind of shows that make you pause the screen just to process what you watched. If you've been looking for something that feels like a hidden gem, something that makes you say, how did I miss this? You're in the right place. Let's start the countdown.
So, what brings you to Tacomares? Vacation, have the kids?
Oh, no kids, that ship has sailed.
At number 10, we're starting with a show that looks like a breezy vacation mystery, but slowly reveals it has something much deeper on its mind, the resort. At first glance, everything feels almost misleadingly light. A struggling married couple arrives at a beautiful tropical resort, hoping that sunshine, cocktails, and a change of scenery might fix what time has quietly worn down. Their conversations are awkward. Their connection feels distant. You can sense that they're together, but not really with each other anymore. Then, almost by accident, they uncover an old missing persons case. Years earlier, 2 teenagers vanished from this very resort, and the case was never truly solved. What begins as casual curiosity quickly turns into something heavier. Questions pile up. Details don't line up. And the more they learn, the more the past refuses to stay buried. From there, the resort slowly shifts gears. What really makes the resort stand out, and why it feels so underrated, is that the mystery isn't the point. It's the engine. Beneath the twists and unanswered questions is a story about time, regret, and the lives we imagine for ourselves versus the ones we actually live. By the time the show reaches its later episodes, you're no longer just asking what happened, you're thinking about why it mattered, and how the past quietly shapes who we become. The emotional payoff lands softly, but it lingers in a way that sneaks up on you after the episode ends. The Resort is one of those shows that doesn't beg for your attention, it earns it slowly. And that might be exactly why so many people missed it. A thoughtful, emotionally layered series that deserved far more conversation, and a quietly strong start to this countdown. At number 9, we have a series that's quiet, unsettling, and emotionally heavy in a way that really stays with you, Kindred. On the surface, the premise feels almost surreal. Dana is a young black woman living a normal modern life, trying to build a future for herself. But without warning, she's violently pulled back in time to a plantation in the era of slavery, only to be dragged back to the present moments later. This doesn't happen once. It keeps happening. And each time she's pulled back, the danger escalates. What makes Kindred so powerful, and so difficult to watch at times, is how grounded it feels despite its sci-fi hook. There's no romanticizing the past. No softened edges. The show forces you to sit with the cruelty, fear, and constant threat that defined that time, while Dana struggles to survive it without losing herself. As the episodes unfold, Dana begins to realize she isn't traveling randomly. She's being drawn back for a specific reason, tied to a white ancestor whose survival is directly connected to her own existence. And that realization creates an unbearable moral tension, protecting someone who represents everything she despises, because her life depends on it. The emotional weight of that conflict is what makes Kindred hit so hard. This isn't just a story about time travel, it's about inherited trauma, identity, and the invisible threads that connect the past to the present. Dana isn't just trying to stay alive physically, she's trying to hold on to her sense of self while navigating a world designed to erase it. The show takes its time with character moments. Conversations linger. Silence is uncomfortable. And the violence, when it comes, is sudden and deeply disturbing, not for shock value, but to remind you how fragile safety really is. Despite its ambition and emotional depth, Kindred somehow slipped by without the attention it deserved. Maybe because it's not an easy watch. Maybe because it asks viewers to confront painful truths rather than escape them. But that's exactly why it matters. Kindred is haunting, thought-provoking, and deeply human, the kind of series that doesn't just tell a story, but leaves you carrying it long after the episode ends. A powerful, overlooked adaptation that absolutely earns the spot on the list. At number 8, we have a series that was often mislabeled as just another pandemic show, when it's actually something far more poetic and quietly devastating, Station 11. Yes, the story begins with a global collapse caused by a deadly flu. But that's not what the show is really about. Station 11 isn't interested in shock, chaos, or constant survival scenarios. Instead, it focuses on what happens after the world ends, and what people choose to hold on to when everything else is gone. The series follows multiple characters across different timelines, before the collapse, during the early days, and decades later, slowly revealing how their lives are connected in unexpected ways. At the center is a traveling group of actors and musicians who perform Shakespeare for scattered communities, believing that survival alone isn't enough. Survival is insufficient. That idea becomes the emotional backbone of the entire show. What makes Station 11 so special is its patience. It allows moments to breathe. Scenes linger on small, human details, a look, a memory, a piece of art, reminding you that culture, storytelling, and connection don't disappear just because society does. The show moves fluidly through time, often catching you off guard as past and present echo each other. A seemingly minor moment early on suddenly gains enormous emotional weight episodes later. Nothing feels random. Everything is carefully placed. And while there is danger, loss, and fear woven throughout, the series never feels hopeless. In fact, it's surprisingly gentle. It's about grief, yes, but also about resilience, forgiveness, and the quiet ways people find meaning even after unimaginable loss. Despite its critical praise, Station 11 never seemed to reach the wide audience it deserved. Maybe because it's introspective, maybe because it's emotionally demanding, or maybe because it doesn't fit neatly into a single genre. But for those who connect with it, the experience is unforgettable. Station 11 is a series that doesn't shout to be noticed, it whispers. And if you lean in, it leaves a lasting imprint. A beautiful, deeply human story that absolutely earns its place at number 8.
Say George.
Sorry.
Rebel believes that someone has invented a true time machine.
At number 7, we have a series that takes a familiar sci-fi idea, time resets, and turns it into something far more intense and emotionally brutal than you'd expect, The Lazarus Project. The story follows George, a regular guy living a normal life, until the world suddenly ends. A global catastrophe wipes everything out, and then, just as abruptly, time resets back months earlier. Except this time, George remembers everything. That's when he's recruited into a secret organization known as the Lazarus Project, a group tasked with preventing extinction-level events by resetting time whenever humanity is about to destroy itself. On paper, it sounds heroic. In reality, it's devastating. Every reset erases relationships, progress, and entire lives, except for the people chosen to remember. Births never happen. Loved ones are lost again and again. And the emotional toll of constantly reliving erased timelines becomes almost unbearable. What makes the Lazarus Project stand out is how grounded it feels. This isn't flashy sci-fi obsessed with spectacle. It's about consequences. About what it means to play God with time while still being painfully human. George isn't a genius or a soldier, he's just someone trying to hold on to love and morality in a system that treats both as expendable. And as he starts questioning the organization's rules, the show shifts from survival sci-fi into something much darker and more philosophical. The tension builds quietly but relentlessly. Every mission feels urgent. Every decision carries weight. And the question hanging over every episode is hauntingly simple. If you had the power to reset the world, who gets to decide when it's worth it? Despite its strong performances and gripping premise, the Lazarus Project somehow stayed under the radar, possibly because it doesn't spoon-feed answers or comfort. It asks you to sit with the discomfort of loss that technically never happened. By the end, you're not just watching a time loop thriller, you're watching a person slowly fracture under the cost of saving the world. A sharp, emotional, and deeply underrated sci-fi series that absolutely earns the number 7 spot.
What's his name?
At number 6, we have a series that feels like a psychological thriller first, and a time-bending mystery second, Shining Girls. The story centers on Kirby, a woman whose life never seems to fully settle into place. Her memories don't line up, her reality feels unstable, and she's haunted by a brutal attack from years earlier that left her traumatized, and deeply disconnected from the world around her. Then she realizes something terrifying. The man who attacked her may be connected to a string of murders, and the way he commits them defies logic. Time doesn't behave normally around him. He moves through it, reshaping reality, leaving his victims unanchored in their own lives. What makes Shining Girls so unsettling is how it puts you directly inside Kirby's experience. Scenes shift subtly. Details change. A job she had in one moment is suddenly gone in the next. Relationships rewrite themselves without warning. And you're left questioning what's real, just like she is. The show doesn't rush to explain itself. Instead, it lets the confusion simmer. You're asked to piece things together emotionally before you understand them logically. And that choice makes the tension feel personal rather than procedural. At its core, Shining Girls is about trauma, how it fractures memory, identity, and trust. The time travel element isn't a gimmick, it's a metaphor made literal. The villain doesn't just hurt his victims, he erases their sense of continuity, leaving them stranded in shifting realities. Performances across the board are restrained and heavy, especially as the story leans into quiet dread instead of constant action. Conversations feel loaded, silences linger, and every small victory comes at a cost. Despite its ambition and emotional depth, Shining Girls slipped by many viewers, possibly because it demands patience and attention. This isn't a background show. It asks you to lean in. But if you do, the payoff is chilling, thoughtful, and deeply affecting. A dark, cerebral series that deserved far more recognition, and a strong entry at number 6.
Rodney, is Kenzo in trouble?
We're all in trouble, honey. Not my place to say.
At number 5, we have a crime series that feels stylish, emotionally rich, and completely unlike most shows in its genre, Giri Haji, which translates to duty shame. The story begins in Tokyo, where a soft-spoken detective is sent to London in search of his estranged brother, a man believed to be dead, now suspected of being involved with the Yakuza. What starts as a professional assignment quickly becomes deeply personal, pulling family loyalty and moral responsibility into direct conflict. From there, the show opens up into something far bigger. Giri/Haji moves effortlessly between London and Tokyo, blending cultures, languages, and perspectives in a way that feels organic rather than flashy. Characters speak Japanese and English naturally, without over-explaining themselves, which adds to the realism and quiet confidence of the series. What really sets this show apart is its emotional core. Yes, there's crime, violence, and danger, but at its heart, this is a story about family, identity, and the weight of choices that can't be undone. Every character feels layered. Even the criminals are driven by love, guilt, or loyalty rather than simple greed. The tone constantly surprises you. One moment it's tense and violent, the next it's tender, funny, or unexpectedly heartbreaking. It refuses to stay in one emotional lane, and that unpredictability is part of what makes it so compelling. As the story builds, consequences start stacking up. Small decisions ripple outward, affecting everyone involved. And by the time the series reaches its final chapters, it delivers moments that are bold, artistic, and emotionally devastating in ways you don't see coming. Despite critical praise, Giri/Haji never reached the audience it deserved, possibly because it didn't fit neatly into a single box. It's a crime drama, yes, but it's also a family story, a cultural bridge, and a meditation on duty versus desire. It's thoughtful, stylish, and quietly powerful. A truly underrated gem that earns its place at number 5.
Ask me what you don't know.
What is devs?
At number 4, we're stepping into a series that feels cold, hypnotic, and quietly terrifying, Devs. At first, the show presents itself as a sleek tech thriller. A young software engineer lands a dream job at a secretive Silicon Valley company known for its cutting-edge innovation. The campus is beautiful, minimalist, and eerily silent, the kind of place that feels controlled down to the smallest detail. Then something goes wrong. A sudden death, a cover-up, and a research division so secretive that even other employees aren't allowed to know what it does. As the story unfolds, Devs reveals its true obsession, determinism. The idea that every event, every thought, every action is not a choice at all, but the inevitable result of everything that came before it. And once that idea takes hold, the show becomes deeply unsettling. What makes Devs so effective is its atmosphere. Long pauses, sparse dialogue, characters who speak like they already know the ending. The series moves slowly, almost deliberately, forcing you to sit with uncomfortable ideas instead of distracting you with action. Despite its ambition and philosophical depth, Devs never became mainstream. It's demanding, it's slow, and it refuses to comfort the viewer with easy explanations or emotional release. But for those willing to lean in, it's unforgettable. Devs isn't just a show you watch, It's a thought experiment that lingers long after the screen goes dark. A bold, cerebral series that absolutely deserves the number 4 spot.
Told you not to talk to anybody.
At number 3, we have a series that doesn't rely on twists or spectacle to keep you hooked. It traps you with realism, dread, and the slow collapse of a life, the night of. The story begins with a single decision. A college student accepts a ride from a stranger after a night out. They spend the evening together. Drugs, alcohol, impulsive choices. And then he wakes up next to her, dead. From that moment on, the show becomes less about what happened, and more about what happens after. What makes the night of so devastating is how methodical it is. You watch the justice system grind forward in real time. Interrogations stretch on too long. Words are misunderstood. Silence is treated as guilt. And before the main character fully understands what's happening, his life has already been swallowed by the process. Despite its critical acclaim, The Night of never became the kind of cultural obsession it deserved to be. Maybe because it's uncomfortable. Maybe because it refuses to offer clean heroes or easy justice. But that discomfort is exactly the point. The Night of is gripping, exhausting, and quietly heartbreaking. A series that leaves you sitting in silence after each episode, realizing how fragile freedom really is. A powerful, unforgettable drama that earns its place at number 3.
Dad, tell me there's a way out of this. Not a quick one.
At number 2, we have a series that proves you don't need constant action to be absolutely gripping, Blackbird. The story is inspired by true events and centers on Jimmy Keene, a charming, fast-talking criminal who's given an impossible choice. Stay in prison and serve out a long sentence, or be transferred to a maximum security facility for the criminally insane, where he must befriend a suspected serial killer and get him to confess. No wire, no protection, and no guarantee he'll make it out alive. What follows is a psychological duel built almost entirely on conversation. Jimmy is thrown into a world where danger isn't loud, it's quiet. He has to earn trust from someone who may be responsible for multiple murders, while constantly watching his own words, reactions, and emotions. One wrong move could cost him his life. What makes Blackbird so disturbing is how intimate it feels. The camera lingers during conversations. Silences stretch. You can feel the tension behind every smile and every casual question. The show understands that true horror doesn't come from violence, it comes from proximity. Despite its powerhouse performances and tight storytelling, Blackbird didn't dominate the conversation the way it should have. Maybe because it's restrained. Maybe because it's emotionally exhausting rather than flashy. But that restraint is exactly why it works. Blackbird is tense, chilling, and deeply uncomfortable, the kind of series that pulls you in quietly and refuses to let go. A masterclass in psychological tension that earns the number 2 spot.
Every time you find yourself here, it's because you chose to come back.
And finally, at number 1, we have a series that feels unsettling from its very first scene, and only grows more disturbing the longer you sit with it, Severance. The premise is deceptively simple. Employees at a mysterious company undergo a medical procedure that separates their memories. When they're at work, they remember nothing about their personal lives. When they leave the office, they remember nothing about work. 2 versions of the same person, both trapped, neither whole. At first, it almost feels darkly funny. The office environment is sterile, overly polite, and painfully cheerful, like corporate culture taken to an eerie extreme. But beneath that surface is something deeply wrong, and the show wastes no time letting that tension seep in. What makes Severance so powerful is how quickly it turns an abstract idea into something deeply emotional. The work selves aren't robots, they're real people, born into existence inside the office with no past, no family, and no escape. Work isn't just a job to them, it's their entire reality. As small cracks begin to form in the system, the show transforms into a slow-burning psychological thriller. Questions pile up. Rules don't make sense. Authority figures smile too calmly. And the deeper the characters push for answers, the more unsettling the world becomes. The pacing is deliberate and confident. Every hallway feels endless. Every conversation feels loaded. The silence is often louder than the dialogue. And the office itself becomes a kind of maze, both physically and mentally. What really elevates Severance is how many themes it tackles at once without ever feeling messy. Corporate control, identity, free will, grief, the version of ourselves we sacrifice just to survive modern life. It's sharp satire wrapped in genuine emotional weight. And then there's the tension. The show builds it slowly, carefully, until you barely realize how invested you are, and then delivers moments that are genuinely heart-pounding without relying on action or violence. Just choices. Just consequences. Just people desperately trying to reclaim control over their own existence. Despite its acclaim, Severance still feels strangely underwatched for how original and confident it is. It's not background TV. It demands attention, and rewards it. By the time the season reaches its final moments, you're left breathless, anxious, and immediately reaching for the next episode, or the next season. Severance isn't just one of the most underrated shows of recent years, it's one of the most unsettling reflections of modern life put on screen. And that's exactly why it earns the #1 spot. Alright, so those were 10 underrated TV series that deserved way more attention, the kind of shows that make you wonder how they slipped past your radar in the first place. Whether you're in the mood for something slow and emotional, deeply unsettling, or quietly brilliant, there's at least one series on this list that feels like it's waiting for you to press play tonight. If you enjoyed hanging out and talking Hidden Gem TV with me, make sure you're subscribed to Watch with Jenny. This channel is all about discovering great shows the algorithm forgot. No hype, no pressure, just really good stories. Let me know in the comments which series you somehow missed, and which one you're starting first. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time, with more shows that deserved better.